Throughout the past few years, the renowned rock artist Bruce Springsteen has encountered numerous difficulties. The life of the born-to-run singer has been fraught with difficulty, what with tour delays caused by health problems and significant emotional strife. However, new and alarming information has just surfaced. Patti Scialfa, Bruce's longtime bandmate and wife, whom he met early in his career, is the subject here, not Bruce. The Springsteen family has been keeping a terrible secret, but what is it? But let's find out how he met her first. Bruce's profound songwriting emerged from the profound sentiments of loneliness and estrangement he experienced throughout his formative years. Born on September 23, 1949, at Monmouth Medical Center in Long Branch, New Jersey, Bruce Springsteen's life narrative starts there. His parents, Adele Ann Zarilli and Douglas Dutch Springsteen, had vastly different influences on his formative years. Although he battled mental illness his whole life, his father Douglas held down a number of occupations, one of which was that of a bus driver. The Springsteen household was overshadowed by these difficulties, which only became worse over time. His mother Adele, who was born and raised in Brooklyn, provided an anchor for the family. The family's principal source of income came from her job as a legal secretary. During difficult circumstances, her family was able to persevere because of her steadiness and strength. The Springsteen family has strong origins. In the 17th century, when the area was still called New Netherland, Bruce's paternal ancestors sailed to the Americas from the Netherlands. John Springsteen, his paternal ancestor, was a patriot who served in the American Revolution. In Dutch, their surname is Springstone, meaning a stepping stone. This seems fitting considering all the steps Bruce would take on his voyage. The tale of his maternal grandfather was just as moving. A person who crossed the Ellis Island border from Italy's Vico Equense with the sole intention of starting a new life somewhere else. The fact that he became a lawyer despite his inability to read or write English when he arrived was an inspiration to young Bruce. Bruce had a very rigid upbringing as a Catholic child in Freehold, New Jersey, and he frequently clashed with the nuns at St. Rose of Lima Catholic School. Despite his disobedience of the school's strict regulations, they had an impact on him that would manifest in his music, which fused Catholic imagery with rock. A fundamental theme in his lyrics were the plight and aspirations of common people, which frequently mirrored the working-class values he was raised in. What captivated him during those formative years, though, was not education or religion. It was melodic. A turning point in Bruce's life occurred when he was only 7 years old. The Ed Sullivan Show included Elvis Presley, and he, along with millions of others, watched it. It was more than a performance, it was Bruce's aha moment. At that moment, he realized that making music was his life's work. His learning curve was excruciating, but his mother had noticed his enthusiasm and rented him a guitar for $6 a week. He was hoping for a more immediate connection, but it fell short. Nonetheless, that glimmer of musical enthusiasm wouldn't go out of style so quickly. Bruce had begun to prefer spending time alone by the time he entered high school. Conforming or going the conventional route wasn't anything he was interested in. The only thing Springsteen ever wanted to do, according to a former instructor, was play guitar. Academics and social life were of no concern to him. Even in 1967, he failed to attend his own graduation due to the profound loneliness he felt. The answers he sought were also not forthcoming from college. He only stayed for a short time at Ocean County College before he decided to leave. He simply wasn't engaged in class. But music was there the whole time. Whenever he felt lost in thought, his guitar became his anchor. Bruce was drafted at the age of 19 during the height of the Vietnam War. However, his conduct during the physical examination and a motorbike accident that occurred 2 years prior prevented him from serving in the war. He probably avoided being deployed to Vietnam, an experience that had a profound impact on many of his classmates because he failed that exam. Bruce and his family relocated to San Mateo, California in 1969 when he was 20 years old, along with his younger sister Pamela. In Freehold, New Jersey, Bruce remained with his older sister Virginia, who was married and expecting a child at the time. After seeing the Beatles play on Ed Sullivan in 1964, Springsteen's life took a dramatic turn. "I was astounded. The result is something really original: four men performing their own tunes. A myriad of opportunities were available to Bruce as a result of his idea. He was so moved that he spent $18.95 at a nearby store on his first guitar, but it wasn't good enough. His mother, who was always there to cheer him on, observed that the inexpensive guitar was noisy. She borrowed money to upgrade him to a $60 Kent guitar. After writing about that selfless deed in his later song The Wish, Springsteen couldn't shake it. He formed the Castiles, his first band, in 1965 and began performing at local clubs. From tiny venues to cafes in Greenwich Village, New York, they played everywhere they could. They were merely a modest town band, the Castiles. On the other hand, Bruce's drive was exceptional. The local bands supporting Vineyards Tex and Marion saw that potential in him. It was reasonable for Marion to believe Bruce when he said he would be famous. The path to success was not smooth, even with his talent. Springsteen persisted with his hectic schedule, establishing and joining other bands. In the late 60s, he was a member of the band Earth, which performed in smaller venues in New Jersey and larger venues in Manhattan. It was a chore every night. Travel at night, lengthy car rides, sparse crowds. Contrary to popular belief, Bruce never gave up. This was more than just music. He was struggling to express himself. Springsteen had a new band, Steel Mill, by 1969. This particular bunch stood out. People began to take notice of them because of their raw sound. They gained a cult following after impressing critics. As they began to play outside of New Jersey, their popularity grew, particularly in cities like Nashville and Richmond, Virginia. Something about them was electrifying. A major motivator was Springsteen. People took note of his songwriting because it was unique. A critic from San Francisco went so far as to say that he had never been so blown away by an undiscovered talent. Although Steel Mill was making progress, true success remained elusive. Bruce spent the following several years playing in several bands, all the while honing his playing skills. He came into his own in 1971 when he formed the Bruce Springsteen Band. The way he wrote changed with time. The fact that he could fit more lyrics into a single song than some artists managed to fit into entire albums brought him fame. He had other goals besides making music. The blue-collar problems he had seen in Freehold inspired him to create fiction. In 1972, Bruce was given an audition with John Hammond at Columbia Records thanks to the belief of two important players, Mike Appel and Jim Kretikos, who were captivated by his zeal. Hammond was a major player. A big step forward was signing Springsteen. He had already discovered Bob Dylan. Unfortunately, Springsteen had hoped for a more amicable split. A folk-inspired acoustic record was what Columbia was after. However, Springsteen was unable to separate from his band. He was accompanied by his Jersey crew. The E Street Band was born out of this collective of neighborhood musicians. When he released Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey in January 1973, his debut album, it failed to become a chartbuster. People who reviewed it thought it was excellent. However, not everyone was on board with it at the moment. Sales were modest despite Springsteen's reputation as a lyricist on par with Dylan. Something was still floating about. His voice, according to Peter Nobler of Craw Daddy magazine, is as intense as the first time he heard a Rolling Stone. Bruce received some additional attention because to Nobler's encouragement, but he still faced challenges. Both the E Street Shuffle and Springsteen's second album, The Innocent, were released that September. Movie was critically acclaimed once again, but movie failed to make money at the box office. The narrative scope of the songs was grander and more epic. His songs, which fused rock and rhythm and blues, depicted adolescent defiance, street life, and the search for meaning in one's life. Although Rosalita Come Out Tonight wasn't exactly dominating the charts at the time, it quickly became a favorite among fans. At the same time, Springsteen's personal life was as wild as his music career. You could never tell what to expect from the Jersey Shore music scene. The Stone Pony and Asbury Park were among his frequent haunts. Crucial to Bruce's maturation was this rough and tumble club. It was Springsteen's haunt, but it featured performances by everyone from local bands to national stars like Southside Johnny and John Bon Jovi. Bruce Springsteen and Patti Scialfa initially crossed paths in the early 1980s at the Stone Pony, the renowned Asbury Park watering hole. Already established as a rock music icon, Bruce was a household name in his hometown. At the same time, Patti was a singer making waves in the Jersey Shore scene. Patti had a musical upbringing in the neighboring town of Deal, Monmouth County, not far from where Bruce Springsteen had spent his childhood. Her grandpa on her mother's side was instrumental in developing her musical gift by spending time with her at the piano as they composed songs. The sessions were the ones where Patti's passion for music really took flight. At the Stone Pony, where Springsteen and Patti initially crossed paths, Patti was performing with a local band. Even though it wasn't romantic at first, their bond was immediate. After her performances, they would frequently meet at the pub, where they became friends. Knowing that Patti didn't have transportation, Bruce would strengthen their bond by offering to take her to her mother's house. He was so impressed by her singing that he quickly extended an invitation for her to perform backup vocals with the E Street Band on his 1984 Born in the USA tour. On stage, their chemistry was palpable. The raw and passionate voice of Patti harmonized beautifully with Bruce's legendary sound. Because Springsteen was married to actress Julianne Phillips when they were together, their relationship stayed platonic for a while. However, changes started to occur by 1988. Phillips and Bruce's marriage collapsed as he became closer to Patti. What began as a strong relationship blossomed into an intense romance as they began spending more time together off stage. The world soon began to take notice of their friendship. Although Patti had long adored Bruce, he was still reeling from the breakup of his first marriage when he fell deeply for her. In high school, her art instructor made the comment, "Patti's been in love with Bruce for as long as I can remember." Bruce and Patti were inseparable by the late 1980s. They lived together in New Jersey and then spent some time in Los Angeles. Bruce and Patti had an intimate wedding at their Beverly Hills home in 1991. The ceremony was small and understated, in contrast to his first marriage to Phillips, which was well publicized. Bruce saw Patti as unique. He counted her as an accomplice both offstage and in his personal life. A real team, they had grown over the years, enduring the limelight and all its attendant demands. Over time, Bruce and Patti decided to establish a family of their own. Evan James was born to them in 1990, long before they were married. In 1991, their daughter Jessica Ray was born, and in 1994, their youngest son Samuel Ryan joined the family. They made it a point to be there for their kids every day, even if their jobs were demanding. Being a hands-on father was something Bruce frequently expressed, something he'd had trouble with as a child because of the tension in his relationship with his dad. He and Patti shared a common goal to provide their children with a safer and more nurturing home. Patti kept carving out a niche for herself musically even as she and her husband raised their family. She didn't want to be known as just Bruce's wife or the E Street Band's female lead singer. Her first solo effort, 1993's Rumble Doll, showcased her unique singing style, and even though Bruce was on the tour as a special guest, Patti proved she was more than simply a supporting singer by holding her own. Her solo career flourished in the years that followed with the releases of 23rd Street Lullaby and Play It As It Lays. Despite the stability of their love, they faced obstacles. Bruce began fighting off bouts of depression in his 60s and continued throughout his life. While speaking about his struggles, he mentioned how Patti helped him get through them. When times went rough, she was the rock he could always rely on. Springsteen admitted in his autobiography that he and Patti had struggled to stay together, but that their love and strength had helped him succeed. How they've maintained a healthy work-life balance is something that Patti has discussed. She assumes the role of a musician and band member whenever she joins the E Street Band on stage, but when the tour comes to a close, they return home as husband and wife, leaving the mayhem behind. They've found that maintaining their distance has helped them stay connected despite the fast-paced nature of the music business. Family is at the heart of Bruce and Patti's connection, not music. Each of their 3 children has gone on to great success in life. Like his parents before him, Evan is now a musician. Jessica had a successful career as an Olympic equestrian, and Samuel's parents were pleased of his decision to become a firefighter in Jersey City. The birth of Sam's daughter, Lily Harper, in 2022 marked the first occasion that Bruce and Patti were grandparents. It was a turning point for Bruce, who had always desired a close-knit family. There is no way to minimize Patti's impact on Bruce's music. There would be no E Street Band without her invaluable services. However, she has also served as an influence for his musical compositions. During their live performances, the duo frequently does duets. Their connection is just as strong now as it was back in the 80s. Their strong bond, whether on or off stage, is reflected in songs like Brilliant Disguise and Tougher Than the Rest. New Jersey Hall of Fame inductee Patti took place on October 2023. An appropriate homage to the Jersey girl who became famous as a musician and as Bruce's wife. At the ceremony, Bruce introduced her and couldn't contain his pride as he praised her intelligence, beauty, and sex while praising her deserving accolades. Not only was Patti's career celebrated, but so was the journey she's taken with the guy she's loved and worked with for decades. Tragic health news was revealed by Patti Scialfa in a recent and tragic revelation. At the Toronto Film Festival, where the documentary Road Diary, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band premiered, Scialfa discussed her battle with multiple myeloma, a rare blood illness which she has been undergoing in silence since 2018. The film features Scialfa discussing the impact of her disease on her life and profession. Because of the impact on my immune system, I need to exercise caution in my daily activities and travel plans. She opened up about how her life has been transformed by her battle with the disease. She mentioned that her involvement in shows has been limited, but she has been able to appear at a few events, singing a few songs with her husband and the band. She is currently referring to it as her new normal. Even while we don't know much about Scialfa's current treatment or condition, we do know that she has had to make a lot of changes to cope with this devastating news. A malignancy affecting bone marrow plasma cells, multiple myeloma, is extremely dangerous. It makes fighting infections more difficult by lowering the body's immune system. There have been other recent medical concerns within the Springsteen camp besides the news regarding Scialfa's health. Bruce Springsteen himself had to cancel multiple concerts in 2023 because of health problems. He suffered from a peptic ulcer, a painful disease that affected his ability to perform, as the rock great admitted. In 2024, he went into further detail regarding his vocal difficulties, revealing that he was unable to sing due to excruciating diaphragmatic pain. Springsteen has told his followers that he isn't finished yet despite these obstacles. He ended speculation about a farewell tour with an impassioned remark during a Philadelphia gig, declaring, "We ain't doing no farewell tour bullshit, hell no." Having battled depression beginning in his 60s, Springsteen has been candid about his history of mental health issues. He can always count on Patti to be there for him. As she confronts her personal struggle, Bruce is surely standing by her side. Their love, unity, and determination have always shone through in their relationship, and now, with Scialfa's illness, it becomes much more apparent. Regarding Springsteen, his career is far from over. In addition to releasing new music, he is also set to star opposite Jeremy Allen White in a biopic about the making of Nebraska. At the same time, his legion of devoted followers can't wait for the documentary about his latest tour to drop on Disney Plus and Hulu. Despite his personal journey with Patti that continues to inspire, Bruce Springsteen's impact on music and culture is undeniable, especially given his net worth above $1.1 billion.